I tried hard to do something in my life. So I want to join the military. I want to join the Air Force. So as a junior, I went to the recruiter. I walk and he looks at me and he said, my God, man, you look like a great candidate to be, Air Force pararescueman. Okay, Air Force pararescueman. It's a bunch of guys that jump out of airplanes and save down pilots, special operators. Badass. I want to do that. I have no self-esteem. This will give me some self-esteem. He said, but you got to take an ASVAB test. Second I heard test people, my ass did this. I started stuttering, stammering. I said, hey, you know what? Can I take it tomorrow? Went home, got my best friend, Johnny Nichols. Johnny Nichols was my get out of jail free card. Johnny can read and write. He was pretty smart. Said, Johnny, go with me to the Air Force recruiter, and I want to take this test. I want a copy off of you. Roger that. Next day, we go take the test. Johnny sits down, it's like 10 other people. Johnny gets test A, I get test B. I was trying so hard to copy because it was the same test, but his number 10 was my number 20. Anyway, Johnny went into the Marine Corps and did 22 years. I failed the test. So here I am now. Johnny signs up in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps got him in. I'm trying to get in the Air Force. And I had 2 more chances to take this test before I was done. The next time I go in thinking maybe, just maybe, I can guess a little better. I go in, take the test. I had to get a 50 on the test to get the job I wanted. I got a 20 the first time, 18 the second time. So I go home and tell my mom, look, I get one more time to take this test. She goes, I'm going to get you a tutor. We can't afford it, but I'm going to afford literally 1 hour a week. So I had 6 months before I could take this test again. So where my work ethic started was right here. People think it's from all the running and all the stuff I do now. It started from me just trying to learn. I had to learn all of high school, all of grade school in 6 months. And I don't learn like most people. I have to literally buy a whole bunch of spiral notebooks, get the manuals, and literally verbatim write them. And I photographed memory that page that I just wrote down several times. So I can go back through and say, okay, I saw that question on page 71, and that's how I take tests. Went back 6 months later, scored so high, they thought I cheated. I told the recruiter if I could have cheated, I would have cheated the first damn time because I tried to. So I had to go back and take the test again, scored even higher. So now I'm a senior in high school in the late entry program. I'm in the Air Force. And now what they do when you're going for special operations, they send you this packet. It's a warning order. It's warning you that you're going to get your ass kicked when you go to special operations. So it's like a preparation guide. Push-ups, sit-ups, flutter kicks, all that stuff. I'm going through it like a whiz. I'm like, man, I'm going to smoke the hell out of this. Last page was swimming. I'm like, okay, swimming. All right, man, I've never done it before, but that's probably easy. So I go, not a big deal, you swim, right? Anybody can do that. So I go get a book, a how-to book on swimming. The first page, literally, you cannot make this shit up. The first page says to float. I'm like, roger that. I can do this all day long, float. You lay back, I'm reading it, lay back, do this, calm down, relax, boom. I go to the pool, put my book on the gunnel, I'm chilling out, and I see the lifeguard just staring at me like, what the hell is this retarded kid doing over there? And I'm like, not to make fun of retarded people, but I guess that's what he's looking at me like I was messed up. So I'm looking at it, reading it, going back, making sure I do everything right, looking at the picture. I lay back, and I sink to the bottom like a lawn dart, and I'm walking on the bottom of the pool like this. I get a breath, I bound up, hold the gun, the lifeguard comes over, like, you okay, what's going on? All freaked out. I'm like, I'm good, but I can't swim. I can't even float. He goes, man, I taught thousands of people how to swim. This is easy. I got this. I'm like, great, man. I got training in like 2 months. I got to get this, nailed down. So he's holding me up, holding my legs up because, they're heavy. And he goes, man, you got to relax. I relax. I lawn dart to the bottom of the pool. I'm walking again. I come up. He has this look on his face. And he goes, man, you're fucked. I said, why? He said, because you are negative buoyant. The reason why there's only 1% of African Americans in special operations It's not because of anything else, but because of the water, okay? The water is hard because why? 70% of African Americans are negative buoyant due to bone density. So you put somebody in the water who can't float, you're bound to drown, okay? You're gonna sink, and it's horrible. A lot more effort. Anyway, I took the same exact discipline I applied myself with learning. I put into swimming. A few months later, I was swimming my ass off. Got the pararescue training. I'm going to BUDS, Navy SEAL training, which is 6 months long, and the hardest week is called Hell Week. I became the only person in the history of Navy SEAL training in over 70 years to go through 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year. God was testing me again. I was also the 36th African American in over 70 years to ever graduate Navy SEAL training. So here I am. Thank you. I need that. Thank you. This is me in Hell Week right here doing some lunges. This is my second Hell Week. So basically, how I did 3 Hell Weeks, I'll go through this really quick, people, is basically there was a guy there named Captain Bowen. Captain Bowen was an old salty Vietnam vet. This was his last tour of duty, did over 35 years, 32 years in the Navy, and this was his last tour of duty. And he believed no matter where you were at in training, we had guys who were 2 weeks from graduation who got hurt and one guy failed something. They rolled them back to day 1, week 1. That doesn't happen to you anymore. It was just this 2 or 3 year period where this guy was so nice, he believed in having you start from scratch. So Hell Week starts on Sunday, ends on Friday, and it's only the 3rd, 4th, or 5th week of a 26-week program. People think Hell Week is all of BUDS. It's not. It's just 1 week of BUDS, but it's the hardest week. So it starts on Sunday, 130 hours. I get to Wednesday, my first Hell Week, ruptured hernia, stress fractures. Get rolled back to day 1, week 1. I start again, go all the way through, get through Hell Week. I'm going to start second phase, die phase, and broken kneecap, broken patella. Roll back to day 1, week 1. Started my 3rd Hell Week in the year, and in Thursday of this Hell Week, we had a guy die of pulmonary edema. So what happens in Hell Week, what makes it so hard, is they freeze you. They freeze you hour 1. In hour 1 of 130 hours, they want you to think about you're never going to warm up. And your mind goes from being the coldest you've been in your life in hour 1, your mind says, I cannot comprehend being this cold for another 129 more hours. And you quit. It's those people who ever take these small chunks. You got to take this big thing and break it into small chunks. Those are guys that get through. So anyway, Thursday of Hell Week, the guy dies. Hell Week ends about 20 hours early. I graduate Hell Week. I go on to be a Navy SEAL. So I Googled this race called the Hurt 100. It's a 100-mile run in Hawaii with 25,000 feet of climbing. Only 27 people had ever completed this race. I didn't know any of these stats. Ignorance is bliss. I show up there with compression tape on because my feet are jacked up, severely bad. And I show up, I finish the race, barely, call Chris Kosman up, get my application in just in time. He says, you're an idiot. I cannot believe you went out to that race and did it. I get into the bad water. He says, they select the top 90 athletes in the world. I got 5th my first year, came back, got 3rd, ran 7,000 miles in 2007 to raise over $2 million for Special Operations Warrior Foundation. And thank you. Since then, I'm getting inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame in March. I've done so many things. I got the VFW Americanism Award. I beat Lance Armstrong out in 2008 for the world's fittest man. I'm not on steroids, but he said he wasn't either, so who knows? And just to leave y'all with this, I didn't get deep into the weeds because I didn't have much time up here. But I did everything I talked to you all about with a hole in my heart the size of a dime. So I didn't get deep about how sick I was through Hell Week, through Ranger School, through all these races I did. I thought it was just normal to be that jacked up. I ran 205 miles in 39 hours. You're supposed to be jacked up, but not as bad as I was. Basically, everything I talked about, My heart, so you know how you have the good blood and the bad blood, oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. My good blood was getting mixed in my bad blood. So I was working off about 60% of my capability. These doctors, when they found it in 2009 when I damn near died. Because when you're in your 30s and you have a hole in your heart, that's not real good, especially doing what I was doing. I'm not even supposed to be in the military. So I snuck by, thank God, or maybe not, who knows. But long story short, people, is that a whole bunch of these scientists and doctors came out to study me. I was like a lab rat. How did you do what you did? And one doc, they couldn't find anything genetically gifted about me, like was something just compensating for something else. How did you do this? One doctor sat back and said, this guy figured out all the tools of the mind. And I take a lot of pride in that. We all have a lot more ability than we think we have. And it's up to us to find it.